Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous episode of the Killer Author Club. Every episode is special, but tonight is extra special because we have one of our very own killers in the hot seat. Tonight, Kaira Rouda is here to tell us all about what the nanny saw. We have tons to talk about, so grab your cocktail and your list of questions for Killer Kaira, and we will see you on the flip side.
Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killing, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Bell, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kaira Rouda. This is the Killer Author Club.
Hello to all our new members and to the Killer Author Club OGs online or who are listening to our podcast. We are so glad you are here and welcome to the club. I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf.
I'm Killer Kimberly Bell.
And I'm Killer Kaira Rouda.
And we are so excited to have Killer Kaira here in the hot seat tonight to answer all of our questions about what the nanny saw. Like always, we've got tons of killer fun planned. Speaking of fun, how about some in your inbox? The Killers have a monthly newsletter with killer bookish news, only once a month, no spam, we promise. So sign up today at killerauthorclub.com. Also, if you can't get enough of our shows, check out the Killer Postmortem, otherwise known as the After Show, which is exclusive to the podcast. Tonight's show will be available on your favorite podcasting app starting on Friday morning. Links to download are on killerauthorclub.com. So tonight we have Killer Kaira. In addition to being one of the founding killers, Kaira Rouda is an award-winning USA Today and Amazon charts best-selling author of contemporary fiction that explores what goes on beneath the surface of seemingly perfect lives. 3 of her novels have been named Amazon editors' picks for Best Mystery, Thriller, and Suspense. The Next Wife was named a Suspense Magazine Best Book of 2021 and a 2022 Silver Falchion for Best Suspense Novel and a 2022 Silver Falchion first runner-up for Best Book of the Year. She lives in Southern California with her family and is working on her next novel. Congrats, Karen. Welcome to the Killer Author Club Hot Seat.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you guys and everybody watching and listening. Thanks for tuning in. It's kind of odd to be on this side of the whole situation, but it's fun. Thank you.
It's fun. And we have tons of questions about what the nanny saw, which, by the way, was a lot. But can you start with giving us a brief elevator pitch for the book?
I'd be happy to. This is a second book in a series. The first one was The Second Mrs. Strong. Actually, the first one was Best Day Ever, but they don't market it that way. So anyway, so we're back with Cecilia Strom, who was Paul Strom's wife during The Second Mrs. Strong. And it's 5 years later. She's living in Malibu, and she's a brand new mom. She has a little baby named Peyton, and she's trying to get her life back together after the rather tumultuous time that she had in Paris. And she's a little bit struggling. She's still got a bad back from what happened in Paris. She has a lot of issues. So she's at a coffee shop, and Peyton's just crying. And this nice woman comes over and tries to help them. And that's Lizzie, the nanny. And Lizzie is working for another family down the street. She offers to help Cecilia. And that was probably not a good idea, Cecilia.
I was going to say, be careful of the nanny.
Yeah, beware of the nanny.
Oh, we loved it. And readers get chatty and start dropping your questions in the comments for us to ask of Kaira. But first, let's talk about this episode's special drink.
Yes, the killers. We love our killer cocktails and mocktails and tasty drinks. So every episode, we ask our killer guests to come equipped with their favorite. And recipes for tonight's drinks and all the other cocktails that have come before are at killerauthorclub.com under the Killer Cocktails tab. So Killer Kaira has chosen the Malibu Sunset as her cocktail for the night. And can you tell us, Kara, why you chose this one?
Well, the book is set in Malibu, which is a beautiful place, especially at sunset. A lot of the book takes place. I have a lot of scenes at sunset because we used to live there, and it's beautiful and mesmerizing. So I thought that would be a fitting drink. So I kind of tried to make one. It doesn't look the same. But anyway, these are also great after you try to learn golf, which I've been trying to do, which is the most frustrating sport I think I've ever tried. But anyway, so Malibu sunsets. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes, and
Cheers.
congratulations on another great read, Kara. We love it.
Oh, thank you.
Mm. Yes. All right. So, is it me? The Killers started the Killer Author Club 2 years ago so that readers like you can interact with some of the best suspense and thriller authors in the business. Our fall lineup includes superstars like Geneva Rose, Patricia Cornwell. That's right. We are besties now. She's coming back next week. Benjamin Stevenson, and so many more. For dates, times, past episodes, etc., surf to killerauthorclub.com. But tonight we're here to talk about What the Nanny Saw, Kara's brand new thriller, out tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yep.
Tomorrow. All right. So Stamper Lady 50 says, I cannot get enough. Jealousy, envy, revenge, and power can be destructive. Rouda has created a character that is ever changing and fun to read. I agree with that. Creepy Paul is back. I could not put this one down, says a NetGalley reviewer. Kaira Rouda has the incredible ability to write the perfect and most twisted thrillers. This was a huge hit, full of shock and unexpected plot twists. I loved it. And then we have another reviewer who says, so good. Every time I think Kaira Rouda can't surprise me with twists and turns, she does in a big way. Rush to read this one. And be careful who you hire to work in your house. We're definitely going to talk about that. All right, Killer Kaira. So you obviously are a devious and twisted killer. And now we need to know your answer to the killer question. Who do you kill?
I know. I was thinking about this, and actually, I know, Kimberly, you always say you kill men, and it's true. I kill them as well. It's usually cheating husbands. I've decided, husbands behaving badly is usually who gets the. But I think that's pretty consistent through my murdering books. Although I will say, in What the Nanny Saw, no one dies. So that's kind of a twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So this one is a light kill. There's nobody in here. Yeah. I mean,
yes, but the villain in the book does damage in so many other different ways. It's very diabolical.
Yeah, that's true. It's they're not good people, but somehow they stay alive. So there's that. That's right, for sure.
So good.
I love it.
So the last time we met Cecilia, she was in Paris with Paul, creepy Paul, celebrating their anniversary. And then we meet her several years later, like you mentioned. She's a new mother. She's exhausted. She is suffering the remnants of a back injury. Why did you decide to pick up Cecilia's story at this point in her life?
Comment too. Yes, Paul is a psycho. Absolutely. I think some characters just stay in your head, and that's kind of what happened with Cecilia. I didn't know when I wrote The Second Mrs. Strom that there would be a sequel to it. And so it was written as a standalone, obviously. And when my editor suggested maybe Cecilia could have her own story, I thought, wow, that's kind of great, because Paul has had a lot of airtime in the last 2 books. And so it was kind of time for a woman to take over. So that's not that Paul's not in the story, he is, but Cecilia, it was her turn to have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I loved it because Paul was there in like letters, right?
Yeah.
In little pieces and blurbs. And I love a book that has those elements in it because it keeps everything moving really quickly. And yeah. All right. So I know the answer to this question, but Robin asks, is Paul based on someone you know?
Yes, Robin. Actually, it's based on all of my bad bosses through the years, all of my spectacularly horrible male bosses. And yeah, and I didn't know when I wrote Paul originally for Best Day Ever that that's who it was. So it wasn't until I started speaking about the book to readers and groups that I realized, it dawned on me, like, oh my gosh, that's Wes and Jay and Myron. All these guys are like, all were still in my head, and they all came out through Paul, which is very cathartic, although odd. I understand, but yeah, that's who he is.
And Cher says we all know a Paul, LOL.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Unfortunately, we all do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I was really struck with was how much Cecilia changed from the second Mrs. Strong, and to where she's at now. How did you come about with having this character arc? Because it's a great character arc for her. Where did that all come from?
I think Cecilia, she's kind of, she's very crafty and she's worked hard to get to where she is. But she also, at the bottom line of it, she's really looking for love. She really is. And she, unfortunately, she wasn't planning to get pregnant yet, but she did. And she's, this new life for her is kind of trying to do a whole reset. And then she kind of stumbles into the path of this nanny who isn't quite what she seems. So the reset gets a little tougher.
Hmm. All right. Well, since we're talking about the nanny and we are talking about what the nanny saw, let's talk about Lizzie. She's working as a nanny in a less than ideal situation, obscenely rich family, where like the little 13-year-old girl walks around, "Where's my Prada purse?"
It's terrible.
But oh, do we know those little girls, don't we?
Yeah.
So Lizzie is kind of obsessed with working for wealthy families and at the same time almost repelled by them. Like, tell us what you're trying to say with that.
Yeah, I think Lizzie, she wants this life that she sees these people in Malibu have, especially the moms, the stay-at-home moms. She would love to be that someday. The whole notion of being a traditional mom is really what she aspires to. So when she is plopped into these fabulously wealthy homes, she wants to do a good job. She wants to learn how to be a good mom, but then she encounters what she perceives as a bad mom, who is really the first house she's with. It's a neglectful mom. She's not present for the kids. So that kind of gets Lizzie angry. So when Lizzie gets angry, she takes out her wrath on people. But she is, at the heart, she's trying to learn how to be a good mom. That's what she wants desperately someday. And when she meets Cecilia and sees Cecilia struggling to bond with her baby, and here's this woman who has everything money can buy, Lizzie's like, wait, that's what I want. I want that. I can help her, but I can also get a piece of that by being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she does seem to be like the perfect nanny when we
Yeah.
first meet her. She's, doting, she's capable, she loves children. But as we get to know her, we begin to wonder about her true intentions. She snaps photos of her employers in compromising positions and in less than flattering situations. And you are so good at creating these crazy characters who, just have, evil intentions in some cases. How do you do it? How can we package that, Kara? Because you are so good at it.
Are you really scary in real life?
Yeah, tell us.
Exactly. Yeah, wouldn't you guys like to know? No, I don't know where these guys come from really, but I do know that, it's kind of both of them have a pretty traumatic backstory too. So I think the characters, you could relate to them hopefully because you understand where they're coming from. Lizzie lost a little sister as a kid, so she and her whole family really, and so she has this kind of need to fill a hole that's been left in her life. So I think like they are devious and they are out to get what they want, but there are little nuggets of kindness and grace in there too. So Lizzie would, I think, never hurt a kid that she was in charge of. She would always take it out on the parents of that kid if she thinks they're not doing their job as parents.
And yeah, and the next door neighbor parents were spectacularly bad.
Actually bad. Yeah. And actually
All you
that
have to
opening
say is pool party, and then
opening scene is based on a true story when we lived in
no
Malibu.
way.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
And
give us the goods.
yeah, and one of my daughter's friends was being a nanny, and she told me about that. I'm like, oh my heavens, yeah, yep,
It's going in a book.
going in a book someday, and it did. Yep,
So
yeah,
that's what we need for our Killer Author Club merch is be careful, otherwise you end up in one of our books.
Yeah, that's right, for sure. For
especially if
sure.
you're a horrible, bad, sexist boss.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about Paul, and he is in the novel. He is sprinkled throughout. And I mean, we've talked about this before, but why do we love Paul so much? Why do we love to hate Paul?
People love him. Like everybody's like, yay, another Paul novel.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I mean,
How
I
do
kind
you
of like
how do you
him
feel?
too. He cracks me up a lot. He's got a lot of dark humor in his
Yeah.
character, and so I think he kind of makes you chuckle along with him. And he's just so bad that you can't. It's almost like a train wreck. You can't turn away from it because he's, he's bad, but he's right there doing something terrible usually. And in this book, he's kind of a little menacing because he is. Well, yeah. Spoiler alert. He had to pay the price for what happened in Paris, so he can't physically be present until sometime later in the story. So he's got to be a little menacing in this one just to get his point across, I think.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of like the inspiration for Paul and your bosses, we were talking behind the scenes about lists. Do you have a list of like people that you're going to include in your novels? You have like a hit list?
You know what? Because I'm a pantser, so I don't know who's going to pop up in my head when I sit
Yeah.
down to write. Or usually I don't even know the inspiration until, like I said, later on when I'm talking about it. Because when you write a story, I find at least you're like inside the character. So you're not looking at them from the front. And it's only when you go on tour, you start to speak about that character to people that the reader brings more depth to them. Like, oh, well, I saw him this way, or I saw him this way. And then that's when it dawns on me, like, oh man, that's probably inspired by my bad bosses, or she's probably inspired by this. But it's never like a direct correlation between any one person and the character. So
Yeah.
I don't have to keep a list. They're all right up here.
Right. Do
They
you have
just come
people,
out unexpectedly.
Yes. And all of a sudden they're like, they're here.
do you have people come up to you and say, I know I'm in your book? Has that ever happened to either one of you?
You have, yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
Can you
have.
tell us more about it? Or is that too tricky?
I can. Yeah.
I'm positive they're not watching. But I was like, oh, that's pretty vain of you to think that this was about you.
Yeah, that's what it happened to be in my very first novel. We had moved to Malibu, but I was back in Ohio where we lived forever. And I was at somebody's graduation party, my friend's son's graduation party, and this woman walks up that I barely knew, and she's like this, and then turns around and walks away. And I'm like, what the heck? And Meg, my friend, says, oh, she thinks that she's a character in the story. I'm like, I've never given her a second thought. I don't even know her, but she was like going through some divorce, and my character was going through a divorce, so she decided that was her in my book. But
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that happened to me too. Somebody we know was convinced he was modeled after the bad person in one of my books. And it's like, no, it really isn't. It isn't.
well, and I still have that guy in Lakeside where owns the convenience store. He and his wife think the convenience store in my book is their convenience store, and but I had this guy be a smoker, and he's got great, and they're like, and we're not smokers. I'm like, it's not you. And they're like, we know it is. I'm like,
That's funny.
but yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
That's crazy.
How about you, Kimberly?
Yeah, same. I mean, like the person that thought they were in one of my books and got really mad at me for it. Not really a friend, but just somebody that I kind of knew and knew for a while. I was like, Yeah, no,
No.
no, not at all. But I will say one of my villains from one of my books was based on someone that I knew, and I mean, he deserved it. He really did. He deserved to be a villain in a book.
Ooh.
And I wrote the entire story using his real name, and then before I turned it in, I did a search and replace and took it out and called him something else. And
Perfect.
it wasn't like an exact mirror of him, but I definitely used like some of the things that he said, and I mean, he might have recognized himself in the book, but
It's
again, he deserved it.
That's
And it's kind of cathartic, right? Because you kind of get the bad things that you experience in the world out through these fictional characters.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It
think
made me
so.
feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Good.
So everybody is asking in the comments, will there be another book in this series?
Oh, I know. I'd like there to be. I'm not sure yet if they, I mean, I know that the publisher wants them to be. I'm trying to slow down a little bit though, my writing.
I don't know why. 3 books in a year is normal, Kara.
Yeah,
Come on.
kind of a little bit much. So yes, I would love to have them come back again, and they're still rolling around in my head. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, there's so much potential. There's
Yeah.
so much potential. I mean, and then you kind of build the universe out a little bit more with each book. So we
Yeah.
get more and more of these great
Yeah.
characters that
Yeah.
we'd like to know some more about.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you.
Heather, I saw something that you posted about this book, and it was like somebody had said something about how it was like a sneaky psychological thriller. Do you remember what that quote was?
Yeah, I'm trying to think exactly what it was.
It was something like you're reading the book and you don't realize it, but it sneaks up on you how this is really, and Kara, you were talking before how you didn't kill someone in this book, but it was kind of almost like a sneaky psychological thriller.
Yeah,
Did
like
you?
it messes with your head a little bit because
Yeah.
the characters kind of get under your skin in one way, and then all of a sudden they like, ooh, they go in a different direction, and it's
Yeah.
very unsettling, Kara.
Yeah. Did you do that on purpose? Like, did you set out to write a psychological thriller?
No, because I don't plan, but
Oh, yes, you do.
no, only when I'm writing with you guys. But I don't when I'm just by myself. But I'm learning. I'm going to learn. I know I need your spreadsheet for my next book. But yeah, so no, I didn't set out that way, and I'm glad that you guys got fooled, or not fooled, but like that it felt like that, because I think it's harder and harder to get readers to feel that, because there's so many psychological thrillers out, so many things. So it's kind of flattering if you got tripped up a little bit. That's good. That's good for me.
You're for sure, because you're right. There's so many great books out there, and so many books with these twists and turns, and it can be tricky to find a new and different way of getting people like
Mhm.
to do that jaw drop, and you definitely did it. So
Yeah. Bravo.
so
Thank
good.
you. Thank
So
you.
good. And one or two lucky winners are going to be getting copies of What the Nanny Saw. So Kara is giving away two US winners. Doesn't matter if you're watching us on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. We scour the comments everywhere, and we will find some winners there. And I'm trying to find our giveaway. Yay, giveaway. And you just need to answer this question. What sport is Kara attempting to learn, and while doing it, drinking
Malibu sunrise.
Malibu sunrises? So drop your answer in the comments, and we'll scour them and pick two lucky winners. And make sure when you comment, you tell us where you're from.
Love it. All right. So you guys know the Killers are big fans of our independent booksellers, and we want to support them in any way we can, which is why we ask every author guest to tell us their favorite. Kara has chosen Book Carnival in Orange County, California. Sorry, Kara, can you tell us why?
Sure. It's a great bookstore that specializes in mystery and crime novels, and the owner, Anne, is great. And it's, it just makes you happy to be in bookstores that want to celebrate your kind of book. So it's a fun place to go.
Amen. Well, I just dropped the link to the bookstore in the comments, so you can order What the Nanny Saw along with any others on your wish list, and go ahead and tell them that the killer said hi.
Exactly. By golly.
Yes, yes. And obviously, the Killers, we love to read. And the Killer Author Club is the place to share your love for fabulous books. So we invite you to come find us and post pictures, write reviews, ask for recommendations, and give yours. We love it when our TBR cups runneth over, which is why, Kara, we want to ask, what are you currently reading?
Well, Heather, I'm glad you asked. I'm reading Patricia Cornwell's latest because she is our guest next week, and I'm in charge of her episodes. So I'm reading this voraciously. It's another Case Scarpetta mystery, and it's really good.
I can't wait. I haven't started it yet, but that's happening this weekend.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
good.
And speaking of amazing reads, we have 2 new releases to add to your toppling TBR. First, check out Shell Games by Bonnie Kistler, which releases on November 19th. So this is the perfect time to pre-order. Set against a backdrop of rampant development and devastating climate change in Florida, Shell Games is a novel that will make your head spin and the pages turn long into the night as you wonder exactly who is doing what to whom. Also, make sure to check out The Author's Guide to Murder, which I love that title, by Team W, Karen White, Beatrice Williams, and Lauren Willig. The Author's Guide to Murder combines sharp satire of the literary world with a heartwarming story of unexpected friendship and romance, all wrapped in a delightful mix of Scottish plaid and sheep. Bonnie is giving away 3 copies of Shell Games and Team W 5 copies of The Author's Guide to Murder to all to lucky US viewers. You know the drill. Drop a comment if you'd like to be entered for any or all of these books, and remember to tell us where you're from. Good luck. And don't forget to check out the Killer's latest books. It's the perfect time to order Kara's What the Nanny Saw. It is out tomorrow.
And Heather's latest everyone is watching is Big Brother Meets Clue in a reality show gone wrong.
And Paris is always a good idea, and so is Kimberly's The Paris Widow, about a dream vacation gone awry. Yeah, and now it's that time of the evening where we have our killer swag. Membership has its privileges. So if you're on Facebook, check out our private members only group, very exclusive, called the Killer Author Club, where all the killer magic is found, like giveaways. So every episode, the killers choose a name from the hat to win a piece of swag: t-shirts, mugs, candles, totes, hats, all of which can be found at killerauthorclub.com. And tonight's winner is Sandy West. So congratulations, Sandy. Contact one of the killers and we will get that lovely piece of swag out to you right away.
That's right. So, Kara, tell us where our listeners and viewers can find you.
Well, this is really exciting because up until yesterday, my Facebook page was hacked. So I've been off of there, and other people have been doing dastardly things on there since August 20th. But
I don't know. I learned a lot, Kara.
Stop it.
Animal husbandry, right?
It's just like, oh no. So anyway, if you were on my Facebook page, Kaira Rouda Books, and you saw that was not me, but now those bad guys are out again. So come back to Kaira Rouda Books, and we'll talk books again, and it'll be a nice place. But so I'm on Facebook again, yay! And I'm also on Instagram at Kaira Rouda, and yeah, that's pretty much where I am, mostly Facebook and Instagram. I'm lightly on TikTok, but not really. Not really. But you can also find me at kararouda.com.
Of course. And I bet all those links are there too. So,
Yeah.
And the good news is, Kara, you survived the Killer Author Club.
Again.
It was close.
Again, how many badges have you earned, Kara,
I know.
since
Yeah.
we started this?
It's been a busy badge, year, but we're slowing down. Don't worry.
No,
I won't be
it's
back
great.
until June. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, well, my goodness, that time just flew by, and that does it for tonight's episode. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and make sure you mark your calendars for 2 weeks from today. Is it 2 weeks?
No, it's
Oh,
next.
next week.
Next
1
week.
week.
Yes. So sorry. 1 week from today,
That's-
November 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when Patricia Cornwell will be returning to the Killer Author Club to tell us all about Identity Unknown. In the meantime, find us wasting entirely too much time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the places. And for all the information you need, times, upcoming schedules, past episodes, recipes, and merch, surf to killerauthorclub.com. And thank you for being a part of the club. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TBR.